concrete walls. There's a place for us where we could go, where we could be alone. Between city lights, we don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. It is Sunday afternoon. Well, it's Sunday afternoon where I am, but it is Sunday evening for the Europeans. This is the European stream. And y'all have a good day flying? Oh, a lot of people in the chat are going out flying, but I'm glad you're here with me. Slat is apparently going to go ride. Slat, not just... A lot of people get into FPV because they are not the most physical of people. Some people get into FPV because they used to be physical people and now they're middle-aged and they are tired of going to the emergency room. Slat, you're not there yet. You're still ready to go out and break things. Apparently that's what he's going to do today. I mean, not break things. Hopefully not. I like crashing where I don't go to the hospital afterwards. Skateboarders, what's wrong with y'all? Just get back up and do it again. Okay. Inside the Mind of Matt says, I dance like I sing. You don't know how I sing. You don't know how I sing. You don't know. Okay, we're going to do some karaoke. You'll see how I sing. Making a lot of assumptions there. Welcome to the live stream. Let's do some Q&A about FPV. That's a Nicki Minaj. She does that. It's two things me and Nicki Minaj have in common. I'll let you guess what the second one is. It rhymes with cake. I didn't sing in the Shark Bite video inside the Mind of Matt. That wasn't singing. That was talking with rhythm. That wasn't even rapping. Like, please. I got echo in the mic? What are you talking about? No. There's no... I don't know why there would be echo in the mic. I don't know about that. Do I? Hang on. Yep. No. There's going to be an echo a second because I just unmuted the desktop audio. Oh, no, it's muted. You won't hear that. Sweet. Welcome to Livestream, everybody. Sunday afternoon. It is beautiful out there. We need like I'm going to get an outdoor webcam for my stream. So I can just, when I say it's beautiful out there, I can just cut over to the outside. And be like, yep, that's what it's like out there. I need more cameras. Yeah, I need more cameras. Hang on. I'm going to show you guys something. I need more cameras. You know who I saw this? No, don't do that. Oh my God. Thank God the desktop is muted. Hang on. Can I show you guys this? Let's see. Can I bring this up on my... Oh, no. Hang on. Yes, I can. Okay, I need no audio on this, so I don't want to... Look at this. This person has the best streaming setup. Check this out. Let me zoom in on this. This person has the most... Hold on. Pause. Go back. This person has so many cameras. I'm so jealous. Okay. So she's streaming in front of a green screen, right? And then... Hang on. Check this out. This is her streaming setup. Okay, first of all, enough monitors? I think so. She's got her green screen over here in the other room. And then here in her, like, living room... Hang on, here she goes. How many cameras does she have? Look at this. Hang on. So she says so. She talks for a minute. Hang on. Oh my God. What the frick? Okay, you win. You win the most cameras of any streamer. I thought I was like running that game. So I got here. I got two over on the bench that are not currently turned on, so I can't show them to you. I had like 4 cameras here. Okay, you win. I'm so impressed with her setup. Like her whole apartment. Brilliant. How did I end up watching that 507RC? It showed up on my FYP on TikTok. TikTok thought I would want to see it. They were right, but not for the reason that they probably thought. When she left that green screen and like flipped to another camera, I'm like, oh, you are putting streaming ahead. Whatever you're doing. She's got some kind of wireless handheld thing that lets her switch scenes. I'm so impressed. Keep an eye out for that. Drone Racer wants to know what her TikTok. Go rewind the DVR. Blizzard FPV, thanks for a $5 super chat. Up your camera game or I'm leaving. I'll go turn those cameras on and we can you can see me from behind. Just like you could see her from behind. Going back to the thing that me and Nicki Minaj have in common. It might be motion activated. I don't think so, Jackknife. She has something in her hand that's like a remote that switches them. Because she'll like look between the two cameras and switch back and forth. It's got to be intentional. So like right now, I got my Stream Deck here and I'm running the scenes, right? I'm switching scenes. I'm doing all my stuff. But I can't even imagine how she runs her stream while she's like dancing and singing and talking and interacting. Crazy. Anyway, that's not what we're here for, though. We're not here. This is just the beginning of the stream. I think 8 minutes of bullshit is enough, right? No? You want more bullshit? We're here to talk about FPV. We're here to talk about FPV. I'm here to answer your questions. See, I run like four scenes, and I don't dance. Here, hang on. Okay. Oh. Where even is that scene? I don't know if I even have that scene on my Stream Deck. Is it this stream? No. Where? Oh, there we go. There you go. Hi. Hi, everybody. Okay, I feel like a real streamer now. There we go. Oh, there's my bench. I'm not doing anything with it, but... But here's the scene I'm most interested in showing you. This is my main screen. I'm going to be taking your questions here in the YouTube chat. Slow yaw in one direction, jackknife. Slow yaw in one direction. First thing to check is that your channel is centered. Your yaw channel is centered. Chibi Kaiju says you got to dance if you want to get to 1 million subs. I assure you that dancing would be the opposite of getting me to 1 million subs. I know what you want. You want me to answer your questions about FPV. Like this question from DJ Blinks Official. Unlike all those other DJ Blinks accounts. Like DJ Blinks, I got to tell you, I'm really glad this is DJ Blinks Official, because there was a DJ Blinks account in my comments, and I was like, is that DJ Blinks in my comments? And then I was like, no, that's not the official DJ Blinks. This is the real DJ Blinks right here. Thank you, DJ Blinks. I had a slight crash. Sorry, man. I'm just making fun of your name. It's a real dick move. I apologize. I had a slight crash the other day and blew like 4 of the MOSFETs on my ESC. You think a capacitor would have prevented it? Capacitor certainly couldn't have hurt, but maybe your ESC was just crappy. Tweet FPV has me beat on live stream cameras, 6 in total. I need more cameras! Ian Rushforth says, another cabinet? How much of my patron money did you spend? We'll take a look at my cabinet in just a second. Slat says, if you danced every time you answered a question, I wouldn't miss a show. Yeah, maybe. If I'm going to branch out, I think I'm going to branch out in a different direction than trying to get people to simp for me. Tweet FPV has better lighting than me. Hey! Make fun of my lighting. I have a very... I'm struggling here. If you guys want to leave a question here in the chat, I might get to it. There's a lot of questions, though. If you want to make sure I get to your question, hit the $ right here. Leave a super chat. I will be reading the super chats throughout the stream. And real quick, boom! These beautiful people here. On the whole right side of my screen are my patrons, and I'll be reading your comments during the chat, too. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you want to join these beautiful people over in my Patreon, on my Discord server, there's a link to my Patreon page. It's a way for you to provide a little bit of support. Make sure that I don't have to go get a real job. Whee! Best $2 a month I've ever spent. T1 Liddy. Yeah. Marilyn Manson, Ghost Branch FPV. Good to see you there, Ghost Branch. The beautiful people. The beautiful people. Cool. So, they are beautiful people over there. You're all beautiful people, but some people are more beautiful than others. No? I mean, that is a fact. That is a fact. An unfortunate fact about life. But here we're all equally beautiful. I answer questions without taking into account your beauty. Because I can't see you. I don't know what you look like. I just know whether you're asking a question about FPV and try to help you. You guys haven't seen this cabinet yet, have you? Yeah. So this is, you have seen it. Yeah, you've seen this angle. You've seen this angle already on some of my videos that have come out. Yeah, this is the last one, first of all. This is the last one. My cabinets, I have enough cabinets now. Yeah. So we're good for cabinets. But yeah, that's the last one. Good. So glad I got that camera turned on. Why is SharkBite going up to 250 euros when before it was 149 euros? Baskin FPV asks. Baskin, SharkBite was always 250 dollars. I don't know what it was in euros. SharkBite, the video receiver, was 250. Then they knocked it down to 99 as a special promotion to try to just up the adoption and sort of reach a critical mass. And then now I think it's gone back to its original price, although I thought there was a $150 special. Let's go to Rotor Riot and check it out. We'll go to Rotor Riot because they are owned by Red Cat, which also owns Fat Shark. So, you know, you would think there would be a little bit of sort of cross-pollination there. If anybody's going to have the latest, it'll be them. And we'll just search for SharkBite. And here, oh, so Rotor Riot is still showing the $99 price. Do you remember they had it? So if you wanted to buy it and like it's out of stock, but will they let you pre-order? Will they let you pre-order? That's the question. Oh, I don't need 60 air unit micros. I did that on a live stream just to see. It looks like they will still let you buy the SharkBite RX 5.1 for $99. In fact, let me, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to put it on stream, but I'm going to ping Drew right now, literally this minute. And he probably won't answer because he's probably out flying. But, is RR still honoring the $99 SharkBite VRX price? It's showing out of stock, but still will let you order. Okay, I'll check that. It seems like they're still honoring it. But what about a different store like Pyrodrome? SharkBite. Okay. 249. So has everybody gone back up to 249? I thought they was doing a 150 price. But that's not a raise in price. That's what it always was, wasn't it? 249. Oh, it's marked down from 250 to 249. Whoa, save that penny, everybody. Thank goodness. Thank goodness that was a close one. I wasn't going to be able to afford it until I saw it was marked down. That's a little silly. Okay. It does look like it's gone back up to 250. Since it's the European stream, we should look at European stores. I mean, GMI Visuals, he said 249. I assume it's 249 euros. So it just seems like they've gone back to their original price. The $99 was always a limited time promotion. They were very clear about that. And their goal, I think, was just to reach a certain critical mass. Because everybody's like, oh, SharkBite, I don't know. Should I get it? I don't know. And nobody wants to sort of be the first one to jump in that, put their toe in that water. And then people were like, for $99, I'm going to give it. And then they got actual people out there using it and talking about it who aren't just like YouTubers. So, is SharkBite really worth it over analog jackknife? I would say today for racing, SharkBite is compelling. The 200 milliwatt max output power means that it doesn't have enough range and penetration, I think, for casual use or freestyle. But for racing, Evan Turner has said that he is going to be flying SharkBite at MultiGP Nats. And here's the thing. Like, why would he say that? I'm actually confused. Especially with how close Nats are. That Evan would be like, yeah, I'm flying SharkBite. Like, I don't think, like, did HDZero or Fat Shark just pay him? I mean, number one, he would probably have to disclose that. I mean, he should disclose that. Number two, I don't think that they did. I can't be sure. It doesn't seem like a move. Like, here's the thing. Do you think that a top racer who is as competitive as somebody like Evan Turner or Min Chan Kim or Alex Vanover, all these top racers, do you think that they would put themselves at a competitive disadvantage in exchange for a sponsorship? I mean, surely, I mean, you pay them $1 million, sure, I'll fly whatever you want, and they'll take their money and go home. Obviously, everyone has a price, but I think that it's more likely, just based on what I know about Evan. Like, I can't tell you how many times it's been like 2 weeks before a big race, and Evan's like, yeah, I guess I better start practicing. And so my guess is that Evan just flew Sharkbite and was like, damn, this is pretty good. And then he was like, I'm switching to Sharkbite. Right? I'm not going to name names because I don't think that this person has made a public statement. But I know of one other top racer who said, holy crap, Sharkbite is amazing. I'm switching to Sharkbite. I leaked that it's a male. I guess that narrows it down. Not at all. Yeah. So he'll make an announcement when he's ready. I'm not going to steal his thunder. But so for racing, there are people who feel like Sharkbite gives them a competitive advantage. That's the takeaway. Remember, we're going back to the question, is Sharkbite worth it compared to analog? For racing, there are people who feel that the improvement in image quality and image consistency, whatever it is that Sharkbite brings to the table, that it gives them a competitive advantage. I desperately want HDZero to release the 1 watt VTX. I know that they want to release it too. I know that it is in the hands of testers. I would guess that they're dealing with problems with heat dissipation and dealing with problems of manufacturing consistency. Those are the kind of problems that they struggled to solve with the original Sharkbite VTXs, the 500 milliwatt one, and I would guess that's what they're struggling with the 1 watt. If the 1 watt comes out, and if it has good reliability and it delivers that power level, I think that I would be ready to say that for general purpose people, Sharkbite is definitively better than analog. Right now, I think that for a general, like a casual flyer or a freestyle pilot who needs penetration, there's no question that an 800 plus milliwatt analog VTX is going to outperform Sharkbite. At close range, the image quality of Sharkbite is superior, but then as you get further away, Sharkbite just won't be able to deliver because of its lower output power. That's my take. There are people who looked at my recent video about the Sharkbite VTX, the Sharkbite camera, the run cam. I released it yesterday. And they said, one guy said, oh, it looks just like analog. And I'm like, are you really? Like, I understand that it doesn't have this is 1080p. Oh, look at all the resolution. That it doesn't quite blow your socks off like DJI usually does. But damn, if it's like, I've looked at DVR that was recorded on board the quadcopter. Not the video, not the wireless video link, but actually straight out of the camera. When I've done camera tests, sometimes I do that. And I've said, oh shit, the image out of this camera is so good. Man, even the video link, even when you're at close range, the video link kind of degrades the image somewhat. And I've thought, damn, our cameras look way better than we realize. Maybe if you're comparing Sharkbite to like the image straight out of the camera, the best an analog camera has ever looked, then you could say Sharkbite is close to analog in quality. Like, but compared to what we usually see, I think Sharkbite beats analog, as long as you're within that 200 milliwatt range. Anti-Gravity points out that in the EU, you're limited to 25 milliwatts. That is true, And nobody in the EU violates that law. Right? Yeah. So, yeah, technically, you don't go over 25 milliwatts. Remy Tim says, is there a chance that Evan is just pushing SharkBite, is just flying SharkBite to help push innovation forward, and he is happy to take any potential disadvantage since he's set up with DRL money now? Remy Tim, obviously, I'm not in Evan's head. I can't read his mind. Knowing how competitive top racers are and how much they care about winning, it doesn't seem likely. Like, MultiGP Nats is, I mean, I don't think Evan races for money. I don't think that the fact that Evan is paid by DRL means he suddenly just doesn't give a shit about winning Nats. I mean, like, if it was a little regional race or just he showed up at some race and he's going to race, yeah, you know, it's all for fun. You know, maybe he would do something like he would race on 3S, just, you know, for fun. Or he would race a micro quad against everybody else racing 5-inch, just for fun. But when you get to MultiGP Nats, the prestige that is associated with that, think about this. His brand is 533 Racing. If he wins MultiGP Nats, how much does that help his brand, right? There's money on the line there. And I don't know what his salary is with DRL, and I don't know how much he makes from 533. But obviously, there's a financial incentive both ways. If he wins the DRL championship, that doesn't help 533 much at all, because they don't use any of his gear to fly DRL. So he's got a financial incentive both ways. We can't read his mind to know what his incentives are. But when a top racer says, "I'm flying this gear," the Occam's razor says that probably it's because they think it helps them win races. Unless you get to the point where there is so much sponsorship money. Like when a basketball player wears a certain Nike shoes or Adidas shoes, that's probably just because they're getting a shitload of money. Right? But down at this level, there's not enough money, I think, to overcome that. Would be my take. Anyway. Hey, DJ Blinks official. If you call a mod a clown, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get muted. Don't call mods clowns. Anybody with blue by their name. I mean, most of the people with blue by their name, I only made them mods just because I don't want to see them when they're in the chat. But they are mods. And if you call a mod a clown, you're going to lose that interaction. You're going to lose that interaction because I wouldn't tap somebody as a mod if I didn't trust their judgment at least a little bit. Anyway. I will now answer your question though, since I've noticed you. It's bad. It shouldn't encourage bad behavior, right? DJ Blinks official asks, my ESC and flight controller only have 6 pins, 1, 2, 3, 4, ground, and 5 volt. Does that mean I can't use an ESC that has VBAT and current? I really need to know. If you feed VBAT into an ESC that isn't made to, or a flight controller that is made to take 5 volts, you will fry it. Your flight controller, by the way, what flight controller is it that only has, it's got to be a super old flight controller, right? Because just modern ones usually take VBAT and also have current or telemetry. So the current wire you would just leave out. Your flight controller doesn't support current sense, so fine. But at VBAT, you must have a 5-volt regulator to power that flight controller because it doesn't have a VBAT input. If you feed it VBAT, you'll fry it. Okay, there you go. Yeah, Crunked, he's spamming and then he called me a clown. Crunked, I'm 100% on your side here. I'm 100% on your side here. Like, you always have your moderators' backs, right? Right? You have to. If there was an interaction between someone and a moderator and I thought the moderator was wrong, I would say to the moderator in private, hey, you know, maybe we ought to think about this differently. But if you call the moderator a clown, you lose. Even if I would have agreed with you to begin with. You can't shit talk moderators. Moderators are the the backbone of a healthy, polite internet. If the moderator is literally a clown, Jamie Bowers, then that's different. Spanny, let's look at this black box log you just shared. Spanny, in the Discord, just shared this. I can't see your x-axis, unfortunately. This is an artifact of how the file was captured. So usually when you see these humps like this do not reflect anything that is happening in real life, most likely. Most of the time when you see humps like this, it's because you are sampling at too low of a rate. So you're sampling at 100 hertz or 200 hertz, and this is aliasing noise. Now, that's not happening here because I can't see your x-axis, but I can see that 250 hertz is here. So that means 500 hertz is about here. You're probably capturing up to 1,000 hertz, so that's not the issue. So it's not aliasing, but these humps like this, they don't reflect real vibration that is happening in the quadcopter. Is this gyro scaled, or it is gyro scaled? Interestingly, I can see some real noise here. I would love to get more perspective from like guys like Mark Spatz over what causes this other than aliasing from capturing at too low of a rate. But suffice it to say, that's not real data. Let me get a couple of these super chats. The very first super chat of the stream. Thank you, Oliver Buckland, for waiting so long for €5. T-Light gimbals go out of calibration weekly. Both sticks do it. Left side worse. Sometimes over 10% error. No response from Jumper after 2 emails. Sad. I'm really sorry to hear that, Oliver. I will be paying close attention to whether this becomes a one-off issue, like, sometimes shit happens, or whether it is a widespread issue. I pulled the Beta FPV light radio off of my website because of the consistent and rampant QC issues that it was having. I hope that the T-Light, like Nick Burns switched to the T-Light as his daily driver. And that was one of the things that, not the only thing, but I mean, if somebody like Nick Burns, who could pretty much fly any radio he wants, if he says, I like this radio enough to make it my daily driver, I was like, well, maybe it deserves a little bit more trust. Nick Burns did today, says Sir Crashalot. What did Nick Burns do today, Sir Crashalot? Mad Max FPV says, all RC gimbals are poor quality. Well, like, not Futaba. You want to pay, not Spectrum. You want to pay $600, $900, $1,200 for a radio. You will get some good gimbals. There is a new gimbal from, is this it? I don't know if this is the right one. Radio Masters, yeah, this is it. Radio Master has just released a new gimbal for the TX16S. I actually have this. They sent me a set. I'm going to be checking it out. It is full CNC. It's a Hall gimbal. Quad ball bearings, cool. And it has adjustment screws on the front, so you can adjust the throw and all the other. You can adjust the throw, which is some people are going to like. If you want a short throw gimbal, you don't have to replace the gimbal or take it apart. I am looking forward to checking this out. We'll have to see how good it is. For $80, it better be pretty good. Looks nice. Ergonomic stick ends. Yeah. Quad precision. We'll see how it feels. But full, I think it's full metal and CNC. Oh, $80 for one. That's not for the pair. Thank you, John Goblin. It's $160. That's like twice. You're basically doubling the price of your radio. Yeah. I mean, it's good that they let you buy a single gimbal in case you need to replace it. If they sold them only in pairs, that would be bad. We'll have to see. I mean, there are those who would say that $80 for a single gimbal is cheap. the kind of people who buy Futaba. The ability to get a high-quality gimbal in a radio at this price point, I mean, they're not forcing you to buy it, is an argument that you could make, I suppose. We'll see how it is. We'll check it out. John Whitewater says it's only $130 if you buy them as a pair. Is it? Oh, that's nice. Can you buy them as a pair? You can. You can buy them as a pair for $130. Okay, that's a little cheaper. Still pretty expensive. We'll have to see. It's nice that somebody's trying. I will say that. It's nice that somebody's trying. Mad Max says, yeah, good CNC gimbals are worth the money. It depends. I mean, I have flown cheap-ass shitty gimbals pretty much my whole FPV career, and it hasn't held me back. Maybe it has held me back, and that's why I'm not a better pilot. That's it. It's the gimbals all this time. They are nice. I mean, I feel like it's not going to make you a better pilot. It's just going to give you a more pleasant experience. I'm trying to think of a good analogy. Here's an analogy I'll make. It's a weak one. Once upon a time, I put an extra potentiometer, a pot, on my guitar. It was a push-pull pot, so it had a built-in switch that you could pull the pot and push it in, as well as turn the pot, the knob. And it was a cheap-ass potentiometer. And the feel when turning the knob, it felt loose. It felt kind of gravelly. I'm exaggerating, but compared to the factory knobs from Fender, it was really just noticeably worse. And I took it out. I was like, forget it. I don't want this. It functioned exactly like it functioned correctly, but the feel of using it, the experience, the aesthetic, no, that's the looks. It just wasn't pleasant. And that's what you get with something like this. The function is maybe the same, but the experience of using is more pleasant. So anyway, tactile feedback. What's the difference? The difference between aesthetic, and something you're experiencing, like you're feeling. I'm blanking on the word. Oh well. When do you think the Nazgul Evoke will be back in stock? No idea, T1 Ledley. No idea. Could not even begin to guess. Hopefully soon. Blizzard FPV, thank you for $5 Canadian. We got you earlier. Cycling Mikey, thanks for £5. Go on, join Joshua's Patreon. You know you want to. The Discord alone is well worth it. No question this week for me, just a bit of support. Thank you, Cycling Mikey. Very generous of you. James, good to see you again, my friend. Best 6S AC/DC travel charger. Thank you for £5. James, the classics, you always go back to the classics. I feel like the Hoda D6 Duo is very compelling if you want one with AC built in. It is not the smallest in the world. It's got good output power, though. You could even charge a parallel charge board if you had it with you. I travel with mine regularly. And I think there's a new, what was the new one? Dang it. Was the ISTT-F? There's a new one out that's maybe a little bit better, but I'm not sure if it has AC built in. So this is just, and the other thing is, I have owned 4 of these and used them weekly for more than a year. Definitely more than a year. When did I get my first one? August 2018. Jeez. More than 2 years since I got my first one. And it's been rock solid. I had one of them a fuse on one of the output channels blew. And I lost a channel. And there's actually a firmware fix, and I'm not sure if it's the exact same fix, but there is a firmware fix that fixes an issue that blows a channel. So maybe that was it. But the other 4 have been rock solid. And I feel like in this hobby, the ability to make a recommendation for a piece of hardware that doesn't just freaking crap out on you after 6 months or 2 weeks or a day, man, counts for a lot. So that's the one I feel 1,000% confident recommending to you. There you go. Okay. Thank you, James, for the donation. Ellis Clemmer, thank you for a $10 super chat. Sometimes my quad failsafes at about 100 yards. My antennas are mounted like you recommended. After a crash, I can arm and fly again. If there's no failsafe, I can fly way more than 500 yards. It's an XM Plus and a TX16S. If you're getting random failsafes that are not related to distance, like it's not like every time I go this far, I failsafe. Random failsafes not specifically tied to distance, then either it's interference in that location. So the next thing I would check is if it's location specific. Does it only happen at this one place that you fly and not anywhere else? The other thing I would try to do to narrow it down is it only this one quad or is it more than one quad? So those are two things that you can, and you just want to start figuring out what the common link is. If it's one quad, then it's the receiver or the antennas on the quad, or maybe the wiring. If it was the wiring, it would probably happen at all distances, right? Because if you have a broken signal wire that's kind of sometimes making contact and sometimes not, then it would just be like whenever I throttle up, I fail safe because the vibration would break the wire. But if it's usually at a certain location, then it's probably interference. If it's only one quad, then it's the receiver in the quad or the wiring in the quad. If it is multiple quads, then that points to interference or it points to your radio. And that helps sort of move you the right direction. Thank you for the donation. Paul McDonald, thanks for a $10 super chat. When do you need to start worrying about amps on the ESC you're using? How do you pair motors ESC with weight? I hope $10 is, thank you for the donation, Paul. $10 is, I mean, you know, whatever, however much you choose to donate, I'll try to answer your question. It doesn't really matter. The truth is that the amp rating on most ESCs is more than you need. If you are building a drag racing quad that's going to do quarter-mile pulls or whatever, and you're going to just go full throttle for 20 seconds and, 100 plus miles an hour, if you're pushing the limits like that, then you really need to think about your ESC amp rating and many other things that we won't go into here. But for typical use, none of us are pushing our battery hard enough that it can exceed the current rating of our ESC. Think about this. Let's say you've got a 1500 milliamp hour 4S battery or an 1100 milliamp hour 6S battery. If you just go full throttle and leave it there, how many amps are you going to pull? What you're going to see is that there will be an initial surge in amps. Perhaps it'll be 130, 150, maybe 160 amps, probably not more than that. We're talking about like a 5-inch mini quad, by the way. So, a typical 5-inch quad, typical KV motors, not some extreme crazy 160 mile an hour build. So you'll see a surge in amps. And then that surge in amps will drop off. Now, why does it drop off? There's two reasons. The first reason is that motors unload as the quad begins moving. Think about, have you ever had to push a stalled car, right? And when you first start pushing the car, it's very hard to get it moving. But once the car is rolling, it's easier to keep it moving because you got that momentum going, right? And the same thing happens with mini quad motors and props. If you imagine a quad that is going to do a straight up punch out, okay? At the moment that you're hovering and you very first jam the throttle, at that moment, the motors need to accelerate. The props need to accelerate, and that creates a surge in current. In addition, as the props reach the target RPM, the quad begins to accelerate upward, and that acceleration causes a surge in current. Now, imagine that a couple seconds after you jam the throttle, now the quadcopter has reached a steady state. It's reached a balance between it's the air pushing down on it, the motors are spinning at the speed they need to spin, and it stabilizes. We say that the props unload. The air is moving through the props. The motors are no longer accelerating. They are at the desired RPM. The quad is at the targeted speed, and they're working, but everything sort of settles down. And so you'll get this surge of current, and then it'll drop off. The other reason that so that's the motors unload, is what we say. The other reason that we see the current drop off is that batteries, the way that batteries work, think of a battery like a sponge that you're going to squeeze water out of, okay? And let's say we've got this sponge and it's full of water, and we squeeze the sponge. Boosh, a big gush of water comes out. And then we release, and the sponge slowly soaks up more water. So with a battery, I'm going to get a lot of this wrong because I don't have all the terminology about the internals of a battery construction in my head. So I apologize. Big flag that some of this is going to be a little bit off. But there's the tabs at the where the electricity comes out of the cells, right? And there's the electrolyte, and there's ions. There's electrical ions inside the battery, and there is a substrate through which they move. Is that the electrolyte? I don't know. The ions move through the cell, and they sort of get squeezed out. And when a battery is not providing current, the ions sort of equalize throughout the battery substrate, similar to how that water was filling up the sponge. And then when you hit a battery hard, the ions, the electricity, the electrons, whatever, near the tabs, they get sucked out. And there's an initial burst of current where the battery can provide. And then more electrical ions have to move through the battery cells to get to the tabs where the electricity comes out of the cells. So a battery can provide an initial rush of current, but then its voltage will drop and its current will drop as the electricity now has to move through the battery. Okay. And of course, that's related to the C rating. The higher the C rating of the battery, the more current it can provide. But there's always a moment where a battery can provide a big rush of current, and then whew, it drops off. So going back to your question about the ESCs, sizing ESCs, we've got this 1100, 1500 milliamp hour, whatever battery. How many amps can it provide? Now, if you were to look at the C rating, you would go, oh, it can provide 250 amps. We all know that's bullshit. Battery C ratings are marketing bullshit, not tied to any real application. In some, I'm not saying they just make them up, but I'm saying that you have a 150C battery. It's not going to provide 150 amps for very long. Okay? So, when sizing an ESC, the battery is really the limitation. That's the limitation. A typical battery might give you 150 amps for a fraction of a second, or maybe 2 seconds, or maybe 5 seconds, but it's going to drop off because the battery's going to sag out and the motors are going to unload. So if you've got a 30 amp ESC times 4, that's 120 amps. Continuous rating. Your quadcopter isn't going to pull 120 amps continuously for more than a few seconds under most applications. So why don't we all just fly 30 amp ESCs? Well, one reason is marketing. We all used to fly 20 or 30 amp ESCs. Now we fly 50 or 60 amp ESCs. And that's just, are these ESCs higher rated? Probably. What we're really getting is that it goes back to marketing. Those 50 or 60 amp ESCs are designed to handle higher loads, and so they will be more resistant to dying under normal use, even though you're not really pulling 50 amps through the ESC most of the time. So Mad Max FPV says 30 amps is enough if you never crash. Yep. An honest 30 amp ESC will just work all day, will never exceed its amp rating, and you'll be fine. But what the manufacturers are telling you when they rate the ESCs as 40, 45, 60, they needed a way to tell you this is a tougher ESC. And when they say, we designed it with 40-volt FETs, so it's resistant to voltage spikes, nobody cared. Nobody noticed. I mean, some people noticed, but... So they just started saying, yeah, this is a 60 amp ESC to try to tell you this is a tougher ESC. And you go, well, I don't need 60 amps. Well, you might still want a 60 amp ESC. So that's the takeaway. So, oh wait, no, but I still haven't answered your question. How do you size the ESC? The answer is, even if you buy like a 40 amp ESC, which today, the kind of ESCs that are designed for like a 5-inch quad, 40, 45 amps is about as small as you're ever going to find them. They're just not making 30 amp ESCs for 5-inch quads anymore. You just know that the lower amp rating is going to be more susceptible to damage in a crash, even though you will never exceed that amp rating under typical use. So buy a higher amp rated ESC if you can afford it and know that it'll be a little more robust. That's the answer. If you're designing some, like let's say you're building a Cinelifter and you're going to use some motor that nobody has ever used before, at that point, you need to go and put the motor on a thrust stand and see how many amps it pulls, or go to the manufacturer and ask them for thrust test data, and you need to size your ESCs based on that amp rating that the motor has. But most of the time when you're building a quad, there will be someone else, many other people out there who have built the same quad, and you could just look at what ESC they... Like if I go to build a toothpick, I don't know, what's the good amp rating for a toothpick? I don't know off the top of my head. Well, Kebab says 12 amps is fine. Okay, I'm just going to use 12 amp ESC because Kebab said it was fine, and he knows. So you just look for what somebody else who does it. For a typical person who's not designing some new type of quad. Anyway. Rauk FPV says, I went with 50 amp ESC. Each motor is rated for 45 amp peak current. Right. And bear in mind that the peak current that the motor is rated for will seldom be hit in real life, and not for very long. Because that peak current is derived on the bench. To get the motor's peak current, they put it on a test bench and they go full throttle. But remember that on a test bench, the motor cannot unload because the motor never starts moving and reaches that steady state. So on the test bench, the motor is always in that initial period where it is trying to pull air down through itself and hasn't begun moving yet, which means that in the real world, you'll typically see 25 or 30% less current, except for maybe very short spikes, even at full throttle. Alrighty. Great discussion, everybody. Great discussion. I really love that discussion. I think maybe I am going to pull that out. I don't know if you guys know. We'll get back to questions from the chat. I don't know if you guys know that I have started a Livestream clips channel. Let's see how it's doing. Livestream clips. For those of you who like my Livestream content but maybe don't watch the whole thing or just want to see a couple highlights, my Livestream clips channel, I will put the link here in the video description or in the chat. If you want to go subscribe, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. What are we up to? 581 subscribers. Not a lot of subscribers, but I'm trying to build it up. Because like you do a big live stream and you have a great discussion about a question like this. Can you leave your controller batteries fully charged all the time? And then it just gets lost in the live stream and nobody ever sees it again. So I decided to give this a try. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it will just peter out and I'll stop doing it. I don't know. But for now, if you're interested, go subscribe. And that would be a great way for me to know that I should keep doing it. Here's the question. Can I get a vanity URL yet? Oh, no, that's not the right one. Switch account. This account. can I get a vanity URL yet? I hate that URL. I want my vanity URL. No. Damn it. I want my vanity URL. Okay, can't do it yet. Oh, we'll definitely be putting rants on the Clips channel, Boyd. Definitely. L. Leston wants to know, what are the conditions in a build that will create desyncs? Let me think about that. One thing that creates desyncs is if the motor is spinning too fast. Like if you're using a 2600 kV motor on 6S voltage, the RPM is so high that the ESC's settings don't expect it to be going that fast, and it can lose track of the signaling that lets it know the motor's position, and then it can desync. Let's talk about what a desync is, because technically a desync means a specific thing about the interaction between the motor and the ESC. But most people, when they say desync, means death roll. The quad just goes down to the ground. A death roll, like, let's say you crash and you smash the motor, and the motor is just damaged, like you lost a magnet. So the quad kind of will still fly, but it's not super reliable. And then you kind of hover it, and then you jam the throttle, boom, and it death rolls, and you go, oh, I had a desync. So that's what most people mean when they say desync. If let's assume that you're running like a typical motor for your class, like you're running a 2306 motor, 2400 kV on 4S, like something just normal. At that point, the default BL Heli and Betaflight settings, you shouldn't have desyncs. Like, there was somebody in my Discord who was having a problem with some T-motor motors. I don't remember the specific motors, so I'm not going to say. But it was T-motor motors, and he had 2 sets of motors on 2 different quads, 2 different ESCs, and he was getting death rolls, and he was trying to fix it. And he was like, I've tried changing the timing. I've tried changing DMAG compensation. I've tried changing ramp-up power. I've tried everything. And I'm like, stop. If you came to me, if I was a doctor, and you came to me and you said, Doc, I've been doing a lot of parkour lately. And I've been jumping off 20-foot roofs. And I every time I do that, my knees and my ankles really hurt the next day. I'd be like, well, yeah, you dumbass. The human body is not meant to jump 20 feet. I don't, that's why. You figure it out. But if you came to me as a doctor and you said, when I'm walking, my ankle hurts, I'd be like, something's wrong here. You should be able to walk without your knees, your ankles hurting. And that's the reason I make that analogy is, if you have a typical motor and a typical setup, and you're getting desyncs on default BL Heli settings, that's not right. You shouldn't have to go tweaking settings to get a typical setup to fly. That's what the default settings are made for. Something is wrong with your motor, with your ESC, with your soldering. Something's wrong. You shouldn't have to do that. So that's a thing to keep in mind as you're thinking about desyncs. If you're having desyncs, if you went to the doctor and you said, Doctor, my ankle hurts, my knee hurts, the doctor might say, okay, we're going to give you a crutch or a walker or something, a knee brace. You've got a problem and we're going to try and work around it. And if you've got a motor that's desyncing and you don't want to buy a new motor or a new ESC, maybe there are settings in BL Heli that would help fix it, but you shouldn't have to do that. Something is wrong. Okay. Mad Max says desyncs are probably ESCs shutting off due to amps or heat. Mad Max, I don't think that BL Heli has thermal protection turned on by default. Pretty sure that they don't do that. Pretty sure. Like on a quad, they'll keep working because they know you need to get home. So what causes desyncs? Usually mechanical damage to the ESC or the motor. If you have a quad with a lot of electrical noise, it can cause desyncs. The electrical noise can be so extreme that it messes up the ESC's ability to sense the motor position, and the ESC can't like commutate correctly. Let's see here. Paul McDonald, thank you for a $5 super chat. I learned something today. Thank you, Paul. Zintoa Tree, thank you for a $5 super chat. What's a nice, strong 7-inch frame for chasing cars and a little freestyle? I mean, like, how could we not mention Chris Rosser's AOS 7? He just released it. AOS RC, he's got the AOS 7. I mean, it's probably pretty durable. And it probably has great resonance characteristics. Probably worth at least a look. Do we know anybody flying this in real life yet? TBS. TBS Source 1 7-inch. Thank you, Board Boyd, in the in the Discord server. Oh, there's the arms. How about that? 7-inch frame. Does TBS not have a 7-inch Source 1? Okay. Tesh, it would be great if you shared the actual black box log. Tesh, yeah, upload the black box log to the server, man. I think you can just drag and drop it. Tesh is asking about this issue where there was a glitch. Well, here's the first thing I noticed, Tesh. Do you see these boxes here? This means that your flight controller stopped black box logging for a short period of time. Now, there are various reasons that can happen. For example, if you're logging to an SD card and the SD card can't keep up, that'll happen. That's not super likely these days. SD cards are pretty fast. That mostly used to happen when you had serial-based loggers and the baud rate wasn't fast enough. So another reason this will happen is, oh, I see. You buy the Source 1 and then you just get the 7-inch arms. Thank you, Kyrie XXL, for pointing that out. You just buy the regular TBS Source 1 and get the 7-inch arms. Thank you, guys. I didn't realize that. So another thing that can cause a break in logging like this is if the CPU utilization is too high, and that would be the first thing I would check. If you're running 8K on an F4 processor with RPM filtering, your CPU utilization may be too high. It seems like it's probably not a coincidence that this break in the logging was at the same time that there was this glitch. Let's take a look. Tesh just uploaded the black box log. Let's see if we can figure anything out. How are you the FPV know-it-all if you didn't know that about the about the Source 1? Oh, God, they got me. They figured it out. I don't literally know everything. So you're running 8K. It's on an F7, though, so you should be fine. The thing that bugs me is you've got all these glitches here where the logging drops out. Does each of those glitches correspond with a glitch where the quad moves weirdly? Yeah, see, look. We glitch, and then as soon as we come back from the glitch, there's this wiggle. I mean, that's not a coincidence. So it's not just that black box logging is dropping out. Like, the whole flight controller is kind of not working. You know? Like, I don't know what it's doing, but that's not a coincidence. Tesh says in angle mode, it stutters on yaw. Why does the black box logging drop out every time it does this stutter? So yaw stuttering, I would think would be a gyro issue most of the time. Yeah, this is so weird. I would check the CPU utilization. There's no way to log the CPU utilization, unfortunately. I would check the CPU utilization and see if it is, like, go to tasks. Go in the CLI and type tasks and see if anything. Yeah, I mean, terminal insanity. I think this looks like a bad flight controller, long story short. Like, we can try and avoid that and chase it down and troubleshoot it, and in the end, we're probably going to replace the flight controller. But it's really weird that the black box is dropping out like that. Why is the black box dropping out? Anti-gravity 82, that's a good suggestion. Try dropping to 4K. Just see if it helps. Just see if it helps. Coelho FPV, thanks for a $5 super chat. Does the iFlight Success Twin G F7 offer better performance over the single MPU 6000 gyro? That's a tough question, Coelho. The thing is, sensor fusion is a thing that gives better signal-to-noise ratio. And on paper, the gyros that people are using have better specs, especially when used with sensor fusion. But the iFlight specifically has had an issue with bad gyros, and I don't know what it is. And I mean, I'm saying this, obviously I don't have the numbers in front of me. I don't know, what the actual failure rate is. All I know is that I see a lot of a higher, like, not like a lot. I don't want you to give the wrong impression, but I'll speak from personal experience. The JBF7 is made by iFlight and has dual gyros on it. And my failure rate of, like, I just put a brand new flight controller on it and, like, 3 batteries later, one of the gyros is bad, is higher, is like, I'm like, this is not good. And I've asked iFlight about it, and they have some ideas, but I'm not sure. Like, the chips themselves can't be the problem, can they? It has to be something to do with the design of the flight controller. So it sure seems like the MPU 6000 gives more solid results than whatever iFlight's doing. But the MPU 6000 is end of life. And especially now that we've got the silicon shortage, I have to wonder whether, can you get MPU 6000 anymore? Like, it used to be that the MPU 6000 was officially end of life. It had been for years, and they were still making it. And now that there's a silicon shortage, is that going to be the death knell for the MPU 6000? You gotta wonder. Tesh says he put a new flight controller on and the same thing. Tesh, the same thing, including the dropouts in logging? That's freaking weird. Drop the logging rate down to 4K. That's what I'd try that. Just try it. Rauk FPV in the Discord wants to know, why does my set point have these steps in it? My set point has these steps. That is right here. These steps here are what you're asking about. Rauk, that is caused by your packet rate. Okay? So the signal coming from the controller has a certain number of, it has a packet rate, and that's how fast the data comes in, with 100 times a second, 250 times a second, 50 times a second. And that causes stair-stepping in your RC command. Where's your RC command? This blue is the gyro. This is your set point. That's weird that your set point, It's weird. Is the green your set point? It's weird that your set point has stair-stepping on the way up, but not on the way down. That seems like that there's an obvious reason for that. Is it feed? You have feed forward. Yeah. You must have feed forward set up with, hang on. I'm going to show it on screen. why is the question RC anti-gravity 82? I think you're right that his RC filtering settings are wrong. I think that's where we're going to end up. But anti-gravity, before we do that, I want to figure out, why does he have stair stepping on the way up but not on the way down? So hang on, let's talk about the stair stepping. So your RC input, your RC command updates from the receiver, whatever your packet rate is, 50 hertz, 100 hertz, 250 hertz. It's that many times per second. And each time you get an update, the set point is updated. And those changes in set point can cause feed forward to freak out, because feed forward responds to changes in the set point. So the set point is filtered to prevent feed forward from freaking out. And that's why we say, if you're seeing stair stepping like that in your set point, it means your RC command filtering is not set correctly. But why is it only on the way up, not on the way down? So there's two things to sort of dig into here. So the first one, stop. Let's just connect here. The first thing to look at is here in the receiver tab. What you need to be looking at is your RC smoothing settings. I'm going to guess that you screwed with these because the defaults should work correctly. I guess not 100% of the time. So, like, are you on your default settings here, including auto smoothness and everything? Does this get screwed up if you're like running Crossfire and it changes from 150 to 50 hertz, or does it auto? Yeah, Bastian Sonderman. I think that Betaflight auto detects the change from 50 to 150 hertz in Crossfire. But if this was a moment where it had just changed over. No, this is not the right one. Hang on. Oh, shoot. Did I close it? Oh, no, it's a, I see. My bad. It's a screen grab. If this was a moment where it had just changed from 50 to 150, what if in this exact moment it changed from 50 to 150 hertz or vice versa, and then the filtering was not correct? That actually would explain it. It's not that it was on the way down, it was smooth, and on the way up, it wasn't. If we had the actual black box log, we could actually look at the filtering settings and see what had happened. We'll just have to guess. The other thing, so maybe it changed from 50 to 150 hertz, like right in here, and that caused this to happen. The other thing that could be happening, I think, is that in your PID tuning tab, oh, Rauk is giving us the black box log. Great. The other thing that could be happening is in the PID tuning tab, if we have feed forward transition set up, then we're going to get different behavior with feed forward when returning to center stick than when deflecting away from center stick. And that's the only thing I can think of that would cause a difference in behavior between deflecting and returning, but I'm not actually sure this behavior is correct for that. Let me look at this black box log that Rauk sent. So oh good, it's short. Wait, nope. Oh, here we go, 336. And let's go to stick tracking, which I think is where you are. And let's find that. Let's find that situation. Doesn't look like it happened there. So did it happen here? Here's the first question. Does it happen every time? Let's go to, were we on pitch, roll? What were we on, Rauk? Was it on pitch? Let's keep looking. So here's another, it looks like he's doing flips on pitch. So let's, yeah, he says pitch. So let's just look at pitch. So we don't see it here, do we? We don't see it here. So it doesn't happen every time. I mean, you can see just a little bit, can't you? Like, if I set this just right, you can see just a little bit of stutteriness But not much. No like stair stepping per se. So where is, there we go. Here it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into graph setup and add a new graph. And what I want, oh no, I'm so sorry. You need debug set to, there's a specific debug setting you would have needed. It's, oh, we were zoomed in. Apologies, folks. I mean, there is, but it's not this extreme. This is crazy. I mean, this stair stepping that we're seeing going down here is normal. That's a normal amount of stair stepping. This is excessive. That's my point. I think what we would need is we would need debug set to, is it RC interpolation? I think, wait, let me look. RC smoothing rate. I think that's it. So I think if you set debug to RC smoothing rate, you can see when it changes from 50 to 150 hertz. But we just but since we don't have that set, we can't know that. Damn. So my guess is, because we only see it in this one case, we don't see this large amount of stair stepping anywhere else. My guess is that you just changed from 50 to 150 hertz or vice versa, and for a moment the RC filtering was not correct. So this is all pretty normal. Yeah, we don't see that extreme stair stepping anywhere else. So I would just ignore that. Now, if you really care about that, you should set Crossfire to locked 50 hertz or locked 150 hertz and not use dynamic. And then that won't happen, because it'll just detect your packet rate at the beginning of the flight and stay there for the whole rest of the flight. All right, cool. Good discussion. Ooh, that was deep. I hope I got it right. We'll see. Mark Spatz is going to come around and tell me what I got wrong. Yes, Kevin G. I think this is about Crossfire going from 150 hertz to 50 hertz. Rauka PV, no! Don't switch to Tracer. I mean, if you're looking for a reason, go ahead. I mean, you go with my blessing. Just take Crossfire and lock it at 150 hertz. That's what you can do, and you don't need to spend any extra money. In the Crossfire Lewis script, you can manually set it to locked 150 hertz. That's what I highly recommend doing. If you are at 250 or 500 milliwatts, which is what most people are going to be at with Crossfire, depending on if you've got the micro module or a Tango, even at locked 150 hertz, you probably will outrun your 5.8 gigahertz video. I run locked 150 hertz on basically all of my Crossfire builds, and I don't have an issue with LQ. I mean, anywhere I feel like my video is solid, Crossfire is good to go. So. And here's the other thing to keep in mind, guys. So people say, really? Because when I fly Crossfire, it switches from 150 hertz to 50 hertz really close, like 150 meters. And people think that's the range, but no, it's not. Crossfire is very, very conservative about switching to 50 hertz if it's in dynamic mode. It is very, very conservative. So the way it works is, at LQ of like 80, Crossfire switches from 150 to 50. And then 50 hertz can keep going. But if you lock it at 150 hertz, you can go down to an LQ of like 40 before you're actually at risk of failsafe, according to TBS. So if you're thinking your 150 hertz range where you would failsafe is where you see it switch from 150 to 50, No. You go way further. You could go way further. Like if you think about my house, you know how sometimes I fly all the way out to that ridge line? I can do that on 150 hertz, no problem. At 250 milliwatts, no problem. You go plenty far. In dynamic mode, it's extremely conservative about when it switches. So, all right. If you really care about your RC command and your feed forward and stuff, don't use dynamic. Just lock it because it screws with your PIDs a little bit. You may not even notice in real life. Brandon RC in the Discord wants to know, how good is Betaflight's landing mode? It's not. Land means throttle down and hold throttle for a certain amount of time and then disarm. It is not landing. It is a complete misnomer. It just goes to a fixed throttle position for a certain amount of time and then disarms. Maybe you're okay with that. It just means crash. Maybe you crash on the ground. Maybe you crash on a tree. Maybe you fly into a puppy's face. Why was there a puppy where you were flying? I don't know. It's a complete misnomer. The thing with the landing mode is people are like, well, I'm going to set the throttle exactly right. My hover position is 35%, so I'm going to set my throttle at 30%, and that means I will get a nice, gentle landing. Haha! And then you take your GoPro off one day, and suddenly 30% is a climb instead of a descent. And now, don't use land. Don't use land. It's completely unpredictable. Sheila in the Discord says, you need to make a course on Betaflight to sell. It's my YouTube channel. Thanks for being a patron. There is a course. It's called FPV Unlocked. I know that some people prefer a more structured. What? Where is my promotion about it? I promoted it. Why am I not? Oh, I'm mad. I should show up in these search results, you sons of a... You know, did I put FPV Unlocked in the title? I might not have. If I didn't, then that's on me. No! What? Why would it... Wow, okay, that's my bad. Wow. SEO fail. There we go. No. We'll write that later. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Let's get that SEO going. So here is, if you really want a course, there we go. I know that some people prefer a more structured way of learning than just drinking from the fire hose that is YouTube. So more power to you. If you do buy FPV Unlocked, that's an affiliate link. If you decide to go there, click that link and they'll pay me a little bit of money. I have to check in with them. I mean, that video is still up. Should I still be? I can't remember the last time I actually got a payout. Okay, got a couple more super chats come in. Anthony DeStefano asks, thank you for $10 in the super chat, Anthony DeStefano. Do racers use TBS or Fat Shark? I'm confused. TBS makes video transmitters. They make control links. Fat Shark makes video transmitters now with Byte and goggles. I mean, lots of racers use a TBS Unified video transmitter and Fat Shark goggles. So I'm not sure I follow the question. How big is the FPV community in the USA and the world? Based on the Betaflight user base, I believe that the FPV community worldwide is less than 500,000 people. I feel like I would let almost anybody take the over on 500,000. I mean, how are you going to know the answer? I don't know. But based on the Betaflight devs have released, especially now, because I think numbers have gone down in the last 6 months. I think the most traffic I have ever seen since I've been doing FPV professionally was in the spring of 2020, when a whole bunch of people were at home not working, and in America at least they gave out $1,200 stimulus checks, and a whole bunch of people decided to buy FPV gear with that. I know that for a fact. That's the most traffic I've ever seen. I was getting about 200 messages a day, which is high even for me. So based on the Betaflight devs' comments on the number of downloads they see when they release a new version of Betaflight, I estimate that I feel very confident that globally there are less than 500,000. I'm trying to think what bet I would take. Like, how much money would I let you take that? Would I take the under on 500,000 if you wanted to take the over? It'd be a large number. I feel pretty confident about that. So, I'm not like I'm looking to bet you. I'm just saying that I'm trying to decide how confident am I in that number? Like, what degree of bullshit is that made up number or versus an actual fact? Mads Tech thinks 300,000 regular pilots. Yeah, that's the thing. How do you define it? Is it anybody who's ever flown an FPV quad, or is it people who are active? The number of people who are actually active is even smaller. Part of the reason for that is the price. I mean, if you have an American or European income, a typical middle-class American European income, it is still expensive to get into FPV, but you could swing it if you decide that's going to be your hobby. A lot of people the world over, because of currency exchange rates and economic conditions in their country, people, there's really poor people in India who want to fly FPV, and I know that because they email me and they say, "Sir, will you give me a quadcopter?" And I think to myself, if I did give you a quadcopter, when you crash it and need a new motor, how will you? It's an ongoing thing, and I just think that if you are in that situation, it's got to be it's much harder for you to get into the hobby because everything costs you 10 times as much. So that's one reason the numbers aren't bigger. Which country has the most FPV pilots? I mean, probably it's the USA, just because we have a large population and we're relatively wealthy compared to other countries. Like India, go back to India. India has a gigantic population. Are there more FPV pilots in India than in the USA? That's a tough question, actually. I don't know how those numbers work out. Per capita, I would bet that there are fewer in India. Because per capita, I think the average Indian is less wealthy than the average, like, American or European. But there might be enough wealthy Indians to... The other thing is India doesn't let you import. It's very, very difficult to import. The Indian government has some kind of a thing going on with China where they're like, no. And it's very, very difficult to import stuff from China to India. It's very difficult to import stuff from America just because Indian... there are a lot of American stores that will not ship to India because they say that there are a high percentage of lost packages. I don't know any more about why that might be, but obviously stores want to make money and they want to sell product. And if they say, yeah, you know what, we're not selling to the whole country of India, they have some motivation for that. So it's tough to be an Indian FPV pilot, is my point. Anyway. I will say, as a result of all that, the people in India who are FPV pilots are incredibly dedicated and enthusiastic. Because if they weren't, they'd be like, screw this. This is a pain in the ass. So many people are like that. You have to want it twice as much if you're Indian, because everything is so much more expensive and so forth. It's difficult to import. Xenakis FPV says the import situation in India changed weeks ago. Xenakis, can you tell me more about that? I'd like to know if it's easier to import. Maniac Joneja says this is why local hobby shops matter so much more in India. It's true, but I mean, they have to import the stuff too. They have to get the stuff into the country somehow, and they have the same struggle. But they figure it out. I'm not sure when I'm going to work this into the stream, so let me work it in right now. We are caught up on Super Chats, and here we go. The Ultimate FPV Shopping List, my website, where I have a list of product recommendations in various categories. We recently started breaking them out by type of quad. 5-inch freestyle, 5-inch racing, 4-inch freestyle are the ones we've done so far. We just are about to go live. I just have to do one final check on the sub 250 gram page, which we've been working at. Thank you to Aaron Ciotti, by the way, who's been a huge help. He's a real expert in this category, and he's helped with recommendations and just helped make sure I'm not full of shit. That picture turned out good. I'm really happy with that. I took that picture. Every now and then I do okay. But this is the new sub 250 page. It's obviously, if you know the URL, then you could go there. It's not officially live yet. Oops, sorry, wrong link. Can I delete that? Delete message. Yeah, I can. Okay, great. Here's the link. You can check it out. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, you're welcome to email me for products that you think should be on here. Or, if there's something I've missed, I definitely would appreciate your input. But here we go. One of the things I struggled with, I don't know if you guys are going to have a great answer. It's really hard to find a good 3-inch bind and fly. The reason I say that is I used to recommend the Diatone GT349, which was amazing. And it's not made anymore. And right now there's the Diatone LR3, but that is more of a long-range build, the L3, that's it. That's more targeted at long range. It's not like a fast, tough freestyle build like the Diatone 349 was. Can you freestyle? Is this a good freestyle quad? I don't know. So it seems like people are mostly building 3.5-inch now, but I sure would like to have a 3-inch in there. The only one I could find for sure, so I've got the Catalyst Machine Works More Massive Droner. The analog version is under 250 grams, but yeah. See the Crux 3.5, the Sublord, that's a 3.5. Do we have, what's the new Diatone GT349? What's the new Diatone GT349? You can freestyle anything, obviously, Durzo FPV, but like a long-range quad will be targeted at weight, lightweight, and not durability. So is this Roma L3 durable enough to be like crashed and called, or is it a long-range build that's going to break? Does it have the power that you would want? Like, think about the Diatone GT349. I don't know. You may not know the 349. The Reckon 4 FR says Slawanir Maj. Yeah, that one has been suggested to me. I'm going to be checking that out and maybe adding it. Rob Schlich, that's right. The Avant quads. Let me make sure that is on my task list. That was suggested last time. We talked about this and absolutely deserves a look. I believe I added that to my to-do list, but let me double check. Let me double check that that's added. Oh, come on. Oh, I'll just let you sit here and here look at a different part of the page. Add task. Okay, I've made sure that that's added to my to-do list. That's a great choice. So Soul Brother B suggests the toothpick 3. So Soul Brother, what we're doing on this page, we're going to have a separate page for toothpicks. The idea is that we're going to get as close to 250 grams as possible without going over. We're not going to cover tiny whoops and toothpicks, which, yeah, they're under 250, but they're like 100 grams. Newbie Drone Whirligig 3. So the is that a build or is that a frame? I'm looking for a... Yeah, that's just the frame. That's a fine frame, but I'm looking for a bind and fly. I'm missing a 3-inch bind and fly. That's my point. Maybe the Avant Quads is going to fill that in. That could be a good choice. So anyway... That needs to be... These are actually... No. These are actually for 250 motors. We'll have to fix that. Like I said, this page isn't quite live yet. It's almost ready to pull the trigger and go live. Anyway, here we go. What's the best battery? It's an 850 milliamp hour 4S. Yup. That's it. I said to Siati, are there any others? He's like, nope, that's it. That's what you should use. I'm like, okay. Durzo, interesting idea. Should whoops and toothpicks be the same page? They use such different hardware. I'm not sure about that. What's the difference between a racing and a freestyle frame? Asks MF. Darwin FPV Baby Ape 3. Is that any good? Difference between a racing and a freestyle frame is, MF, racing frames are usually much smaller and tighter. Racers are more willing to put themselves, to create problems for themselves in order to get a tight and lightweight build. So they'll use 20 millimeter electronics. They'll use micro VTXs. A racing frame just tends to have a lot less room. Think about like a Miata. It's got 2 seats and no trunk. Right? All you're going to do in it is drive. A freestyle frame will generally be roomier and easier to build. Racing frames have a focus on durability, but more of a focus on weight, whereas freestyle frames tend to focus more on durability over weight, although obviously there are exceptions. There are some ultra lightweight freestyle frames as well. Nick Burns says the Darwin FPV Baby Ape for $70 is a steal. Damn, well, Nick Burns endorses it. Darwin FPV. Send me a Baby Ape. Are you listening? I'll try it. And if I like it, I'll put it on the website. Worth a try. It looks, what's the specs? What's the specs? Oh, yeah. I'll watch Nick Burns' review. 71 grams. 71 grams. Damn it. That's more of a toothpick. That's the thing. Oh, wrong camera, sorry. That's the thing. That's a toothpick. That goes on the toothpick page. That doesn't go on this page. See what I mean? You can freestyle a racer, June Loco. The other difference between a racer and a freestyle frame is a racing frame usually will not be designed around a GoPro. A freestyle frame will always be designed to carry a GoPro, sometimes with props in view, sometimes props out of view. A racing frame, with a 3D printer and sufficient ingenuity, anything can carry a GoPro, but a racing frame will not be designed to carry a GoPro first. Anyway, yeah, so like I wouldn't put the Darwin FPV because it's down in the 75 to 100 gram weight, which is for toothpicks. I'm going to have a separate page for toothpicks. And again, people are suggesting frames. I'm not looking for frames. I'm looking for a bind and fly. Anyway. All right. Bjorn FPV, thank you for 5 Swiss francs. Do you know of any 9-inch props besides the HQ ones from Catalyst Machine Works America? I do not. Gemfan makes a great 13-inch prop for Beast Class, X Class. Does Gemfan make a 9-inch? Have they started making a 9-inch yet? They have glass fiber. No. Yeah, I mean, Gemfan has some airplane props, carbon fiber and glass fiber, but no props for like multi-rotors. Josh Robinson, thanks for a $10 super chat. Just thanks for all the help. Ken Hartman, thanks for a $1 super chat. Caught up on super chats. Yay. What VTX can I use with SharkBite that's over 500 milliwatts? Fabian R. Fabian, there is not currently a SharkBite VTX over 500 milliwatts. It doesn't exist. There is a 1 watt SharkBite VTX in the works that they're testing and working on manufacturing, but you can't buy it. And Doalan, thank you for 10 euros. Archimedes would like me to show their... Ooh, Archimedes. That is a sexy print. Damn. This is Archimedes' 3D printed cover for the Crossfire Micro TX. That is hot. Archimedes, can you just save us all a lot of trouble and show this to TBS and tell them to sell it? Like, I don't know if like you have some, you know, like objection to that. Or go to Race Day Quads. Race Day Quads does 3D printing in-house. They have a printer farm. Can you just get them to sell this and like, you know, whatever. You take $1 or don't. Well, I don't know. Some people who make 3D printed parts really don't want to, they want to give them to the world for free because they're like good people or whatever. Like a lot of people are not going to get this good a result out of their printer. This is astoundingly good. This must be, this can't be FDM, right? Trappy's not interested. Okay, Archimedes. What about Race Day Quads? If they said we'll print it for you, like, can you print this with FDM, or is this all resin? This is matte PLA. That's FDM. Holy shit! That's the kind of results you can get with a 0.12 layer height. That's really good. That's right off the printer. Damn. That is hot. Oh, you're a smart cookie. I think I said this the last time you showed this. You have designed it and oriented it so it prints without supports too. You are a smart cookie. Hang on, go back here. You can do this on Thingiverse, guys. You can. That's really damn clever. Oh, maybe. I mean, you probably print it without supports, but do these bridges print without supports right here? That can't print without supports, right? Like these here, once you've got this bridge established, this will print without a support clearly because the angle is not too deep. It's a shallow angle. But you're not getting these bridges without supports, are you? I need to know the answer. I know the chat is 10 seconds behind. Tell me the truth, Archimedes. Like this part probably prints without supports. He used supports. Okay. PLA support just pops off, says Archimedes. Thank God. If you were printing these bridges without supports, I'd be super damn impressed. Nevertheless, Archimedes, I mean, like, I don't know how long this would take to print at 0.12 layer height. And I don't know what Race Day Quads would have to charge to make it worth their money. But a whole lot of people would like this and aren't able to print it either because they don't have a 3D printer or they just don't have their printer tuned to the level that you do. I suspect, the thing is, Race Day Quads, they have a 3D printing farm in-house. So, I mean, if it's a low volume product, they'll just print on demand, right? I mean, I bet they probably print on demand most of their stuff because you order it in whatever color you want. I bet you they would do it, and who knows what the price would be, but I would at least ask. He says it's about 4 hours with 60 millimeter printing speed. Anyway, if you do have a 3D printer, you can just print it your damn self. Boom. Just print it your damn self. There it is. That's great work, Archimedes. Great design. Really beautiful. I should try to print it. Anyway. Alrighty. Brilliant. Have I gushed about that enough? I think we're done. I think we're done gushing about that. Oh, yeah. It's a good view. It's a nice angle. Whew. Leo Ponce wants to know, do you think the DJI goggles V3 will still be compatible with Air units and Vistas? Leo, that's total speculation. I would say that, like, if I had to bet, if I were a betting man, I'd say that 51%. It's 51% or more likely. Like, it's more likely than not that they will be backwards compatible. But I could not guarantee. Obviously. Race Day Quads doesn't sell Crossfire, but they sell 3D prints. So who cares if the print is for Crossfire? Just sell the print. People buy... Do people who own Crossfire also shop at Race Day Quads? Of course they do. They'll be like, oh, this is cool. Let me pick that up. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, if you print on demand, then there's very little downside to adding a new product. Just when someone orders it, you print it. Or maybe they even have that automated. Is there a Shopify plugin that integrates with your printer farm and automatically prints when people orders? Surely that exists, right? Shopify 3D printer farm plugin. Boom. Instant 3D printing manufacturing plugin. There you go. So they probably don't... There's probably zero downside for them to add it to the store. Yeah. Is there any talk of a DJI V3, Gary Higgins? No. No one has heard any rumors of a DJI Goggle V3 as far as I know. Why doesn't Race Day Quad sell TBS stuff, L. Leston? L. Leston, that is a... you're going to get a whole bunch of people who tell you the answer, and depending on which side they like, you're going to get a different story. The most objective and neutral way to put it is that TBS prefers not to sell wholesale to Race Day Quads. And since Race Day Quads can't buy wholesale, they can't make money selling the product, although that's not even true. For a while, Race Day Quads was buying retail prices and selling the products at retail. And even though that obviously was losing them money, somehow it still made sense, but then they stopped doing it. Anyway. And we'll leave it at that. Exactly right, Mike Bergman. Doesn't DJI release on a schedule? With 18 months between goggles, the next ones could be August 2022. EDOC, you're right about that. There's typically 18 months between a DJI product release. The V2 goggles, I think, were a little longer than that. Not much, though. So... Yeah, Brandon RC, I think you're right there. I think that enough people use Crossfire that just having TBS in your store gets you business to the point where if you lose money on a TBS receiver, you still make it back in the rest of your orders. That's the only logic I can think of. I mean, you could certainly say, well, Tyler just was like, F you. You can't stop me from selling your product. But I'm sure, I mean, how much money do you lose doing that? You know, Tyler is at his heart a businessman, and it's not that he doesn't hold grudges. I do think he holds grudges. I just don't think he's willing to just pour his money down a hole in service of a grudge. So if they were buying TBS products at retail and listing them in the store at retail and losing money, I don't think they were actually losing money. I think he thought it would be a net positive, which just shows how in demand TBS products are, if that's true. Anyway. MixWiz, thank you for a $2 super chat. Spend less on many or a lot for one? Less on many. Because if you buy one expensive quadcopter, you're going to crash it or lose it, and then you're done. I'd rather have 3 $200 quadcopters than one $600 quadcopter. No question. Unless we're talking camera platforms. That's different. For freestyle FPV, less on many. We are 10 minutes from the end of the stream. I have not seen Ciati pop up. Usually he streams at 3 p.m., but he has been working as a professional FPV pilot, making movies and commercials. So he hasn't been streaming. I don't know if he's streaming today, but I haven't seen him around, so I wonder if he is not streaming today. Cyclimbo asks, should I build a lightweight 7-inch toothpick-style quad? I'm just not even going to finish your question. No. Why? No. Okay. I'm a hater. Ciati was in the chat earlier. He is streaming today. Yay. Thank you, eDoc, for the link. I will post the link for him at 3 p.m. Ciati is going to be streaming. Did I post the link? What's happening to my chat? There we go. Oh, there he is. Ciati. Ciati. He is streaming today. FPV Cycle Glide flight controller swap again. Is Madstech streaming later? I do not know the answer to that. Madstech, if you're streaming, let me know. I'll announce your schedule too. What the hell? Yeah, you missed last week's stream. That's exactly right, Ciati. How dare you? Thank you, Ken Leeper, for 450 pounds in the super chat. Thank you very much for all you do for this great hobby. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate the support. It is a great hobby. That is for damn sure. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of frustration, too. There was a message on my YouTube comments this morning. There was a guy last night. Last night, he left 2 or 3 comments on 2 or 3 different videos. And they were comments like he had just gotten FPV gear or whatever and was having trouble setting it up. And so he left a comment on my Crossfire setup video, like, Crossfire's crap, it doesn't work, which means I can't figure out how to get it to work. I mean, Crossfire is one of the easier to set up control links in this hobby, but there's obviously a learning curve. So then he left a couple comments, not really asking for help as much as just complaining. And then this morning he left a comment on my Betaflight setup video, which basically said, thanks, you bricked my radio. Thanks for a great introduction into this hobby. And this happened once before. There was a guy who literally accused me of bricking his radio. And I said, listen, I mean, if none of the instructions in this video should brick your radio if you follow the instructions. Thousands of people have watched this video. You're the first one to say, oh, you bricked my radio. So if there was a problem in this video, like my very first Crossfire setup video, I can't remember if the pinout changed or if I got the wiring wrong, but I had the 5-volt and the ground wires backwards, and I put a note in trying to, but many people didn't see the note and they fried their receiver, and I took the video down. So like I have posted videos with mistakes in them before. And in fact, when somebody would say to me, "You fried my receiver, you son of a bitch," I would be like, "I'm really sorry." And I'd buy him a new receiver. I'm sure there were many people who fried receivers who I didn't hear from, though. But in this case, he said, "Oh, this video fried my, bricked my radio." And I said, "Well, you know, hey, don't worry. Your radio is not permanently bricked. You can always get them back. Let's just figure out where you went wrong and let's get it fixed." And he said, "Like I'd let you touch my radio again." And I kept going back and trying to be like empathetic. Like, I know it's frustrating. I'm sure we can fix this. Let me help you. I got to the point where I even offered to like get on a Zoom call with him and try to fix it. And he accused me of intentionally putting bad information in my video in order to sabotage people out of some sadistic urge. And I said, I have 250,000 subscribers because I help people. I have patrons. I help people. That's I don't do. What are you? This like, it doesn't make sense. What you're saying doesn't make sense. It didn't go anywhere. And my wife said, "You really can't. You can't help. You can't do a Zoom session with this guy because computers break. And if, God forbid, his computer breaks the day after you're helping him, he will be sure that you broke it." I'm like, yeah. So I ended up disengaging, and that was the end of it. It was the craziest interaction I've ever had, though. And so this time, this guy comes along and says, "Well, you bricked my radio, you son of a bitch. Thanks for the great introduction to the FPV hobby." And I was just like, nope. Hide from channel. We'll never see a comment from him again. I'm not going down that road. And I feel bad because, like, there's this tendency that the person who is the most hurt and angry is the one, and I don't know if everybody feels this way, but sometimes I feel this way. That's the person that you, like, if there's somebody there and they're just like, "Yeah, fuck, I don't know." You're like, "Well, I'm kind of busy today. I'll see what I can, maybe try this." And then you go somewhere else. But if there's a person who's like, "Oh, I need help. This hobby is so hard." Like, oh man, let's help that person. They're the one who needs it the most. They're so full of anguish and pain. That is where the greatest good can be done in the world. And you were like, if I can save this one, I will truly be a good person. If I can bring this person back from their darkness, the savior syndrome. And then I thought, you know what? There's a whole lot of people who need help and who are more worthy of help than some jackass who lashes out. Like, I understand the hobby is frustrating. And you get to a point where you just want to punch a wall sometimes or throw all your stuff out the window. Like, I get that. But if you're going to leave a comment that says, "Thanks for the great introduction to the hobby. You bricked my radio." There's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many emails I can send. And maybe that just means you don't make the cut today. And that's what I decided. Like, if there was all the time in the world, I would just get on the phone with you and try and help you and show you that the hobby, everything's okay. You can do it. But frankly, if you've got that attitude to begin with, probably not going to have a great time in this hobby. Thank you, Samwise Gamgee, for $5 Australian. Thanks for all your knowledge and willingness to help people. Would love to see you live over. I'm lucky I get to see you live over here in Australia, very early in the morning. Yeah. I didn't even reply. I was just like, "All right, you're done. Bye. Bye-bye. Good luck." Alrighty, folks. 2 minutes to the end of the stream. I will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. I hope I'll see you. If not, I'll see you throughout the week. Got a lot of great content coming up this week. I got those new gimbals from Radio Master. Going to be trying them out. And I've got the LED gimbal lights. So I'll be putting those in at the same time. And a whole bunch of other great content. Happy flying, everybody. Have a great stream, Ciati. We're out of here. Yeah, Bobby Bag says, I have a feeling it's not just FPV that's bothering that guy. Yeah. Like, be frustrated. Be frustrated. But don't take it out on me. Be frustrated all you want. But don't take it out on me. You come at me swinging. I got better things to do than try to help you. I've got other people to help who aren't trying to punch me in the nose. Happy flying, everybody.